Moira here. They used this in their first match against Clockwork Vendetta alongside the 3-2-1 composition with a Mei to try and stymie the progress of Clockwork Vendetta's signature. And we'll have to see if Zander here, as a Reaper, can get a lot of brawling power done. He is actually going to be quite effective against the tank line of Clockwork Vendetta, especially Moose. Okay, we got Monk Marder on the Hanzo, Ricky on the main. No surprise there from Ricky. Widow's fairly useless on this map. Not the best hero in the world, per se. Just Monk Marder just does so much more with these dragons, rather enclosed point. That's a nice hold and a hook and a wall. Straight away, Chow gets dealt with. Yeah, you need to be eating up those halts, and you know that it wasn't obscured by a wall because it came up afterwards. Still, HSL do have a position on the point. Clockwork Vendetta can move on in here. They've broken a wall with their own. That's the best pick. Zander was not expecting that single column to go down. He ends up going, well, falling over, and Moose lands another hook and gets another kill. HSL may have dominance on the point, but Monk Marder and a little tactical crouch to go with it is going to build up 90% towards that Dragon Strike headshot after headshot. Clockwork Vendetta, cap point. Less impressive onto the Sleeping Moira, but it was 3 headshot executions coming through from Monk Marder, and of course, look at Zander's ultimate charge, 22%. He barely got to even be involved in that particular fight, Jaws, and here we need to see Chow, we need to brush up, needs to eat these holes. To say the same thing about Molf. If you're not going to run the Roadhog to get that pick potential, you've got to at least mitigate what Clockwork Vendetta has. Dragon Strike so quickly build up. Sends it out, Ding already goes down, and he almost had Coalescence too, which could have been their saving grace. Hook from Moose, instantly executing Fisher, and now HSL Esports have not really got many members on the point left. Monk Marder just cleaning on up. Zander has found a kill, however, but he is naded, so quickly dealt with, and now it is a 2v1 versus Askoff. He isn't going to last long either, as Clockwork Vendetta continue to hold. And when that fight starts to break down, that's where you really see value out of a Reaper, because he's so hard to stop when you don't have a huge amount of damage, because of the self-sustain that he has. When he does a huge amount of damage himself, he's got that life drain when he hits with his Hellfire shotguns. Clockwork Vendetta, though, they appear to be doing very well at calling out Ding's usage of the Fade. The second he used that, we saw Monk Marder use the Dragon Strike. He's almost got it ready to go again. What? And just don't catch those. All right, you can't let that happen. Fisher takes a body shot and then a direct headshot. Unfortunate with the Storm Arrow. Ding has got the Coalescence, but HSL, that's the only ult they got online currently. Of course, they have got Death Blossom building up, but there's so many ways to actually mitigate that. Henningsen has got Supercharger too, but Clockwork, they basically got all the same thing. Death Blossom, when it comes to mitigation, usually the most effective method is to use a wall of the Mei. It can eat up a lot of that damage, and just about 510 in total. Pretty deadly. A couple of HSL people did manage to make it through. Ricky trying to kill heads from afar, almost manages to pick off Fisher, but he has to go in the block. Coalescence is going to come out. In fact, a lot of ultimates on the point. Mini-Me now in trouble, but instant. Monk Marder coming in once again with the ult. Moose is going to take one with him as well. Resurrection attempted by Scarippa, but he does get out alive somehow. Very late Blizzard being used here by Ricky to make sure everybody's cleared off the point as overtime is in session. Nobody any resources left. And with a perfectly timed Blizzard, that should be the end of it all. HSL just trying to get puck on the point. There's the negation factor you were talking about. Instant wall on Zander's ult. And now the Doomfist trying to make it work. But OT is going to tick through. And Clockwork Vendetta will claim Village. How are you going to deal with Monk Marder when he's on form like this? It was a valiant attempt from Chow. He also managed to, of course, deny the res by knocking back Scarippa. But unfortunately, he was trying to remake while in the Blizzard. And it's not really an interaction we see too much, Jaws, because the animation is so quick, it's kind of hard to cancel, and usually the D.Va dies if it doesn't work, is that when you're suiting up as D.Va, if you actually get CC during it, you lose the mech and you've got to build up all over again, just like any other ultimate. So they did get executed after they were frozen, but because that suit up was interrupted, it would have been rather useless on that baby D.Va anyway. Unfortunately, Clockwork Vendetta coming out swinging with 2-2-2. Monk Marder, oh boys, looking good. This is the best time to use the Blizzard 2 when everybody's got no mobility cooldowns, no ultimates left as well. As long as you can outlast Fisher's ult, it's pretty much as good as done. Monk Marder cleaning up at the end there, of course. Now we jump over to a little bit of a different map in terms of topography. They're running the same sort of thing, though. We are seeing Ding once again on the Moira versus Zaitor's Ana. Going to be seeing these same compositions again, but HSL still are lacking a really good usage of the Roadhog. Chow definitely a lot more comfortable on this D.Va, so he's got to be eating these holds. As I've said before, you've got to get the mitigation if you don't have the combo. All right, nice kill on Mini-Me to start it off. Not too bad whatsoever. Return kill, though. Zander does end up getting hooked in, and a resurrection onto Mini-Me.
Now, because they have a man up, they might as well push on in. However, HSL almost managed to grab the point, but no one's actually paying attention to Monkmada right now. He's almost got ult, and Ding gets caught off on the sidelines. But now Monkmada, and the main damage source is dead for Clockwork Vendetta. They're going to have to be rather cautious and just rely on Moose to take people out. Doesn't quite get Henningsen, who's dodging around the shield, but Fisher still ends up going down.
Zapray's return, but he's going to be faced with a whole hog right here. That's a lot of damage being pushed into the shield.
Oh, and a nano boost on top of that as well. Henningsen eventually ends up falling. Fisher tries to get back on the point, but doesn't manage it. And HSL, they were like 95% away from actually capping, and Clockwork ends up turning it around.
And it was perfectly timed, though, with Clockwork Vendetta making their re-engagements. We saw that they had to get the space to get the resurrection onto Minimi after he was picked up early, but the second that he was on, he just blasted on forward, got onto there just before HSL got the tick. If they had managed to cap that, they'd probably be about 20-30% right now, but denying that from HSL has been so important. There are a couple of playmakers on the side of HSL right now, but they've got almost 6 ultimates ready to go, and very little in the way of Clockwork Vendetta to try and mitigate this. It's going to be the same wall versus that bottom duel again.
Coalescence, but Ricky throws out that Blizzard. Self-destruct being used in the back line as well by HSL, and he manages to pick off Ricky, but already Chow and Zapray bite the dust, and Ricky actually gets resurrected, but with Skripper going in for that rather deep res, he does pay with it with his life. Clockwork Vendetta still controlling the point, and now they just need to bleed time away from HSL. They're going to be able to survive for a fair while here as they still have both their tanks alive. Minimi even using that supercharger.
Moose getting a perfect shot right there, straight into Fisher's noggin.
What a sleep dart. Askov tried to boot people past the shield. Instant sleep dart, instant kill as well. Zapray unleashes the ult, but Moose stands right in front of him as it gets DM'd completely. Now unleashing the whole hog as well. Ding comes back and kills Ricky, but it is actually going to be enough. I don't think it is, because Henningsen jumps back onto the point and gets instantly killed.
And HSL used all 6 of their ultimates here. Chow may well be staggered, has been able to build up towards that mech yet again, and will get back into the suit safely. He will be a factor in the next fight. So will Ding with this Coalescence. Remember, Coalescence penetrates shields. That means you can do a lot of pressure onto Minimi with that damage, potentially force out some resources like a bardic grenade from Zytor, which will make it a lot easier for Zapray. That is a lot of anti.
6-man nade for Clockwork. That's going to win the fight right there and then. And now Harry, 85% on the board. You know what that means.
Well, you're running a Diva, Jaws. You cannot allow these things to happen when that is your one win condition with a Diva. You need the defense matrix value.
93% now. Someone's going to have to get back to the point. Chow tries to with the thrusters, but I'm not sure they're going to be able to make it.
Put it down.
Okay, Askov manages to get back just in time, but quickly dealt with. Monkmada may have fallen, but guess who's got the Blizzard? It's going to be Ricky, and he takes care of Zapray. Everybody's frozen up, and Minimi slowly chunking people out. Supercharger coming through as well. Ding's going to have to pray and hope for a miracle right now from Fisher to save this fight.
That he is, getting the ice block, and he's going to be able to counterattack now onto Fisher. No use.
Zytor's going to go down though. Ding assassinated him in the back line, but Fisher still ends up falling. CV still have so much control on this point, but now Minimi end up falling. A lot of DPS players from HSL jumping back onto the point. Both the Tracer is doing a lot of work from Monkmada. He is at 1 HP, but quickly dealt with. They are still clamoring at control as Clockwork end up losing Ricky.
Zapray returns on the Doomfist for a remainder of Clockwork Vendetta. Will be evicted from the point. Was looking very dangerous for HSL for a moment right there, but some very clutch plays coming through. I loved how Chow was defending Fisher during that Blizzard. Very good to keep him alive, make sure that he could remain there to brawl. Ding's getting a lot of value out of this Moira as well. You can see that he's on fire right now. So much healing can come out of that Moira. Skripper, though, speaking of healing, he's got the Valkyrie ready to go. It may well be advisable here, though, for Clockwork Vendetta to just not invest too much. They don't need to win this fight, Jules.
No, they might just want to, though. Fisher actually just gets headshot off to the side, and Zapray's already dead.
Win
2
this
DPS
fight.
Already down. HSL now in trouble. Coalescence might just save them, but it isn't going to be the damage necessary. Self-destruct on the point does clear Minimi off, but Skripper is going to be right behind him with the res. Moose is going to find the easy kill onto Chow, who is frozen up on the sidelines, and now it's all up to CV to clear everybody off the point.
If they get the flip here, it could be deadly. They are going to re-engage, though.
They're going to come in with the beat. Zapray's rather tanky. Moose had to get out of dodge rather fast, but HSL still desperately trying to find picks. Zapray ends up going down, but Zytor's dead as well. Main healer now falling for Clockwork. Gonna have to rely on Skripper, but hey, you got Moose, you got Mickey, and you got Monkmada on that point. Only need to deal with Ding, and it should be all over. OT is here. They got 99%. They're going to take this map as well, and Clockwork Vendetta go 1-0 in the series.
Monkmada getting so much value. Call that man a meal dealers out here looking like an absolute snack. Wonderful play there from Clockwork Vendetta. It's been a question moving into playoffs, and we haven't been able to see them yesterday because of a bye. How are they going to adapt going in towards this meta? And you can see why they brought in Scarippa as this sort of third support on the roster, because obviously Monk Melder was ostensibly listed as a support in the flex role, but just bring him in, let him play Hanzo. Hanzo right now is so powerful. You need the Hanzo because of the shield break potential of Storm Arrow, which is so effective, especially when you're looking at Henningsen. And you can play around the defense matrix so easily with Storm Arrow because it's an on-demand ability. Like, you can pop it, and if they like scour you in defense matrix, you're like, I guess I'll just hold on to this for a couple of seconds, and then either they give you defense matrix for 2 seconds, and then they've got nothing, or they turn it off and they don't have it for 2 seconds anyway.
And then who's going to pay attention to Ricky? Apparently nobody. Gets boosters basically for free, and none of them were eaten. The fairy tale continues to go on. Clockwork Vendetta 1-0 up in the series. We're going to jump to a quick break. Do not go anywhere. Map number 2 coming up soon. Hey guys, welcome back. HSL versus Clockwork Vendetta. The fairy tale continues for CV. Winning Open, winning Trials, and then blasting their way through group stage up and towards the semi-finals. HSL took them down before in groups on week number 1, and Giganti potentially stands in their way a little later. We're jumping on to map 2 in a minute.
And this is really a fairy tale story for Clockwork Vendetta, don't you think, Jaws? It's their first time basically in competition at all. They sort of came out of nowhere for Open Divisions, like, hey, we're a bunch of specialist players, and we're going to play Torbjorn, we're going to play May, and you guys can all play Goats and have fun with it. But they just trounced everyone. They destroyed it, and then we went on to Trials as well.
It was so interesting to see them come into Contenders in itself, because a lot of teams are like, oh man, okay, so how are we going to prep?
This is our 3 weeks.
Should we kind of ignore them and then prep for other teams, because we know they're going to run 3-3 or like some sort of variation of maybe we see a little bit of Hanzo, of course, and Orisa Hog, which has been also famous as well, especially in your Q games. Now, I'm sure it will continue, especially after today, but That was the kind of question mark. Are the people going to prepare? Yes or no? Yes, they will, but how much do you put into a team that's going to run May constantly and is going to run Torb constantly as well? Now it's down to 2-2-2. They're slightly more predictable, and we were talking about before the fact that Monkmada could jump over to a sniper role, such as a Hanzo and a Widowmaker. Surprise, surprise, he's in, and he slaps.
Yeah, he's absolutely slapping, but speaking of people who are slapping, definitely not Zapre right now. One for Reaper. When you look at the Reaper-May matchup, Reaper has an inherent advantage because the Cryo Freeze of May's primary fire can be cleansed away by him using his Ray form, and then he can re-engage. And May's got a bit more of a chunky hitbox, which means that she can take a lot of damage from those shotguns and likely will not win out that duel. But right now, we're seeing a really good forcing of the Ray form from the Reaper by the rest of Clockwork Vendetta, just diverting so many of their resources, just doing damage to Zapre. Force out that cooldown, and the second that cooldown's gone, you see that Ricky just makes a beeline for him. He goes in for a free so he can get that headshot, remove Zapre from the battle, because he knows that the second that Zapre's removed from the battle, that means it's time for Moose to go out and do what Moose do.
Do what Moose do. He's a very good hog, and Mini-Me is a very good Orisa as well. Surprise, surprise. They're probably going to play it on Temple of Anubis, which is going to be our next map. Okay, so when we look at HSL, especially when it comes to Zapre, like you said, let's continue that train of thought, because Zapre yesterday flexed his Widow so much, and I want to see him play the Widow again. He's going to be against Monkmada, yes, but this could be the tool that they really needed, because Monkmada was just continuing to demolish him on the Hanzo. Maybe Widow v Widow, Zapre potentially has the edge on it.
Potentially so. Monkmada right now is going to hover over on the hands, and we will see HSL start off on the attack. And I really am a fan of Fisher's Genji. We saw a little bit of it yesterday on Dorado, getting some nice deflects, some nice blades, some very clutch plays. And that's definitely where I think HSL have a lot of power, Jaws, in these clutch moments where it's all about instinctive decision-making. When you want those instincts, you look to the players who have been in the game forever. Zapre, Fisher, Chow. They just read the game. They get that feeling in their head, like, I know what to do. I know how to cut through the chaos and cut through the enemy team. And Zapre coming out here may stay on the Ashe. This could be some of our first Ashe we've seen in 2-2-2. It's not very popular in Overwatch League, but going on over will be the Widow. Of course, they're going to have time to scout, and they can change around in their spawn. An early Sonic arrow here from Monkmada will allow for some scouting, and you'll see them more moving outwards. The question is here, is Monkmada going to get a feel for Zapre's tempo before Zapre can get an early pick? Scarippa will have a resurrection available, so second chances can be forthcoming if the cover can be given to that Mercy.
Askov is on the Baptiste, so he'll be able to move everybody rather swiftly through this small choke without little damage coming to them. But he did blow the Immortality field rather early. HSL Esports still continuing to kind of duel out on the high ground, just taking a lot of poke damage though, which is going to be a bit of an issue here. You can see the ultimate disparity already. Monkmada 60% ult, Fish is only 17. Zapre does find a nice pick though. Moose is going to go down. Scarippa does have res still and does manage to get him up.
And he does. Still, Monkmada trying to suppress that Widowmaker, but he catches an Icicle. He's going to have to back off right now.
That window was pretty good. That wall almost instantly deleted by Ricky, though. With that going down, there's not really much you can do against it and have to back off now. The Ant Matrix does so much work, and so does Zapre on the Widowmaker. Clicking Scripper's heads. He did fly to attempted safety.
And the Infrasight there just informs us so well, you know that Mercy's going in a straight line, straight into the crosshairs. Like you said at the beginning of this map, Jaws, Zapre, he needs to find a place to flex. Widowmaker can be exactly that. He's a very proficient hit scan DPS when it comes to both the flicks and the tracking. He can be forced out here by Ricky and Monkmada, who don't suffer from damage fall off, but neither of them are going to really win out in that 1v1 duel. They're going to have to both sort of like divide the attention of Zapre.
Divide and conquer might be the name of the game. It's always best to put your Widow not so much on a flank, but in a different position to where you're attacking from, so the teams have to look either way. Askov does end up falling, though. Does mean HSL do have to go again. And Askov specifically, and Baptiste, I think it's been one of his better heroes so far in this season. I mean, the Baptiste came in as like a bit of an interesting hero. It's like, oh, is he a main heal? Can he just supplement off heals? And he's been used a little bit of both. You sometimes pair him with a Mercy. Here, obviously, he's pairing him with Ding on the Zenyatta, one of his famous heroes. And I want to say, these amplification matrix can do so much work here too. There's very little place the defenders can run to.
Especially when you can combine it with the Zenyatta and the Hanzo.
Dragon Strike's going to get used. There's going to be a Blizzard as well, straight on top of the Immortality field. Askov and Ding are in a whole lot of trouble. Ricky's going to be able to clean on up, and so of the rest of Clockwork Vendetta. No way you're escaping that one. That's a very, very small area, and Blizzard covers just about that and a little bit more. Rather easy team fight win for Clockwork, and they got ults to spare.
It needs to be talked about, Jaws. What does a D.Va bring to this team composition? Defense matrix. Both Dragon Strike and Blizzard are projectile ultimates with a pretty long cast time, and they can be pretty well telegraphed by the D.Va, which means that they can be eaten. You need to be getting the value out of that, otherwise you might as well be playing a Robotog where you can try and go for those early picks. We see that Monkmada was actually paying very close attention to Chow to make sure he could not eat that, but less so with Ricky. A longer throw could have been a far easier eat. HSL coming in with 6 ultimates now. This can be their fight. Clockwork Vendetta with 4 and a spawn advantage. They could trade this out rather evenly, and even trades, that's exactly what you want when you're on the defense.
Emphasize being popped from HSL. There's the whole hog as well, straight into the shield. Right on top of Ricky's ice block as well. Self-destruct's going to get launched in. Ricky's going to be in a whole lot of danger now as he had to scurry away from it. A hold will slow their assault just for the time being as Ding used that Transcendence, but Zapre has already gone down. 1 DPS falling for HSL, not too great, is it? You're in a rather interesting position, especially against someone like the Mei, and now Monkmada can just go on this big flank. Henningson's going to go down. Askoff manages to find the kill onto Scarippa. But all is it man advantage for Clockwork Vendetta as HSL get cleaned up.
And like you said, as a Widowmaker, you're taking a different angle to the remainder of your team, but think about the healers that you have available. For Zenyatta and for Baptiste. Baptiste is going to have a lot of trouble hitting that globule on you from far away, especially when there are multiple pillars in the way between you and Zapre. If someone hits a headshot, if Zaito hits 2 aim-down sight shots onto that Widowmaker, he's going to be a non-factor in that fight until he can pick up a health pack, because Ding can't venture out and get that orb on you. He's too vulnerable. He's going to be taken out rather quickly if he makes that peek. Chow isolated, but there is a shield for him at least.
Oh, nice. Use those thrusters to get away from that Holt rather quickly. He's going to be alive for the time being. Beautiful bio grenade. Fisher, Askoff, and Ding get afflicted. Holt up into the air. Monkmada instantly taken care of by Ding. Amplification Matrix once again doing so much work, but they got to run into Ricky, and he's got a Blizzard. He's going to jump to the back line, or at least try to for the time being, as Moose ends up going down as well. Ricky gets cleaned up too as HSL push on forward.
A lot of value out of that supercharge right there, but now they've got to get onto the point with a lot of very, very vulnerable players, Jaws.
Well, they do. Chow actually ends up going down to the side. You can see Mech taken out by Moose's ult, and Monkmada finishes the kill. And now Moose is loose on the flank. Zapre's going to go down as well. Spawn advantage still in favor of Clockwork, and Ricky's got the ult. He's going to have to be the one to save this all. He pops into the ice block as people get frozen up, but actually they manage to get away. Henningson pops the Fortify as well, so he doesn't get stuck in place.
Minimi remains relevant though. Fisher trying to make his way around here.
Oh, now a Doomfist coming out from Monkmada. He manages to kill Fisher, but Ding using that Transcendence. Now already going to get healed up. 300 HPS, a little bit too difficult to deal with. Monkmada still doing a whole lot of damage though, but luckily Askoff in time throws out the Immortality Field straight to the back and saves Henningson's life for the time being, but he instantly gets taken out by Zaito, who's now back on the point.
That was such a good wall from Ricky as well. He walled himself in with that self-destruct and just ice block next to it. It was like, I am Superman. I will save your wall team. Don't change that shield. Keep the rest of the team safe. This is my responsibility. And he handled it so well. The early pick from Monkmada as well. We saw Moose get rid of Zapre on the big pig flank. That's so important. You can't have Zapre up there free-firing when you're trying to contest. We saw what happened to Minimi when he tried to come out the doorway. Instantly headshot by both the snipers. The second that shield goes down, they just put up the wall to make sure they can't get much use out of that. Because once the shield goes down, these guys have to burn their time bank waiting for the next one to come up.
Well, Zapre has got Emphasize now, almost instantly used it. That's a lot of damage. Moose instantly getting taken out. Discord Orb, damage boost, headshot by Zapre. Amplification Matrix used as well. Shield's going to go down rather quickly, but not before Zaito gets instantly destroyed. And now, Clockwork Vendetta, they're in the danger zone. HSL still building up, and Zapre still clicking the heads. Ricky ends up falling as well. It looks like doom and gloom right now for CV. They're going to get taken out eventually as they stagger themselves onto the point to buy some more time. HSL capped the second point with about 20 seconds to spare.
And the iteration there was so important, Jaws. The last time we attacked, we saw that Askoff put down the amplification matrix towards the back of that run. You've got that long corridor towards the main point. He put down the amplification matrix at the back, which means Fisher may get use out of that, Ding may get use out of that, but your Orisa won't, your off-tanks won't. And this time they staggered out their amplification ultimates. They put down the supercharger first. We're like, okay, we're going to make sure these guys can't attack us as we come down this central avenue because they're worried about the damage that we're doing. Then when they get to the corner where they can actually make a meaningful engagement, they put down the amplification matrix in front of the shield of Minimi where he can't disengage around the corner and get away. He needs to be on that point. They've only got one tick to play with. iteration and learning from HSL, staring out the amplification is so important in this comp.
Clockwork now on the offense. We do say their composition normally leads them towards a defensive favored team. But now they have to get a time bank greater than 26 seconds if they want to look rather impressive going on to the next round, or if they complete, of course. A bit of a change for HSL, though. Zapre still on the Widowmaker, surprise, surprise, but Fisher is going to be on the Junk.
Yeah, and he can be damage boost on that Junkrat as well. To do a lot of damage per grenade will be absolutely ripping through Mini-Me's shield. And right now, his use is shield break. Like, he doesn't need to get kills. All he needs to do is get rid of his shield so that Zapre can get picks, because he knows that HSL, they are going to be, or rather Clockwork Vendetta, they're going to be relying on having everyone available. And Monkmada, he likely won't be behind the shield. If they can get rid of Ricky with a headshot, which is one of the only ways to get rid of a Mei very sharply, then it's going to be very difficult for Clockwork Vendetta to make an engagement. Just go for those early picks, take advantage of what Zapre brings to the field, and it should be pretty easy for them.
Fisher, like you said, those Junkrat bombs, Harry, they do a lot of damage when they're damage boosted. Plus, they can bounce off a billion things as well.
See ya.
Ricky gets... Oh, man, that concussion mine. He just got deleted. I don't think he knew what hit him, really. He had the ice block available to him as well. He just didn't expect that shot to actually land.
Well, the damage boosted shot off a Widowmaker does a lot of damage, and you get the 120 from concussive mine exact as well. Just too much for the Mei. We'll have to wait for him to respawn. And now, Clockwork Vendetta, they need to look at what they're up against. They've changed Monkmada over. They want him on the Hanzo instead. They want to be able to mirror in terms of how much they can do damage to the shield. Fish is going to back off a little bit, but look, he's almost got the Riptire already. Monkmada's going to have to shoot that down, potentially.
Look at that shield almost instantly getting deleted. Mini-Me's going to follow it as well. Right back to spawn with, yeah. Scarippa does end up getting the res, however, but, you know, Moose on the sideline does get taken care of, so it's tat for tat, trade for trade right now. Fisher needs healing, but he's going to get that Riptire online rather shortly, Harry.
I don't understand the value of the Ana here for Zander. I think it'd be much better suited to go onto, that's a nice bardic grenade, but much better suited to potentially go over onto a Baptiste, have the Immortality field to deny the burst damage from both a Riptire and a Sniper, potentially. And of course, the area healing when you're up against a Junkrat is invaluable.
Oh, this is perfect as well. Fire in the hole, the Riptire soars to the skies as they have all the information they could so want with Zapre's ultimate as well. He's trying to hunt for Zander, instantly kills him off, and Ricky's going to follow him as well. Sonic Arrow does land on Zapre's skull, but Scarippa doesn't have a resurrection. He has a resurrection onto Ricky, and Zapre gets up as well.
Monkmada's still trying to skirmish here, thinking maybe that they can win out in the trades, because of course they are spawning a lot more closely. That's a trap though. Careful here, Monkmada. May get headshot, but no, he will survive with the help of his mercy.
Survives for the time being. Moose unleashing the whole hog in the side. Sting forced to use the Transcendence. In fact, most supporters are getting exhausted here as Fisher ends up going down. And now, fishing for the hooks is Moose, but he's taking so much damage in the front. There's going to be a supercharger available rather soon if he's not careful. Henningsen up to 97% as Ding gets the pick onto Monkmada. That's going to be an ult onto Moose. No, he has to take out Henningsen soon, or he's just going to ult. He actually gets trapped in. Ricky throws the mech right in front of him, and he's taking so much damage. Self-destruct in the room, but Moose and Henningsen are already dead.
Fish has returned on the Doomfish, trying to get some value here, but everyone's caught.
Oh, Monkmada with the dragons through the wall. That's it. Ascoft and Ding end up going down. He's going to clean up Fisher as well. Zapre, you may have sights, mate, but it ain't going to last long as Monkmada takes your life.
Zapre's got to be swapping here. If he used the sights in that particular scenario and he's not swapping, I'd call that incredibly questionable. There he is. He's going over onto this McCree. Wants the stun power. This means that if Ricky gets onto the point, he'll be a lot less of an issue. If you can get the stun to make sure the ice block is not going to be an issue, that's a huge boon for you. And of course, it can be very difficult to position as a Widowmaker on the defensive point here. Very, very few places you can position yourself. So having this potential for more shield break, for the stun, could be very much a boon for them.
Well, Ding trying to find some right-click kills. Did manage to find one with the Holt being used. Unfortunately, it's not old Zen, where the right-click was about light speed or close to, but there it is. Ding's still pretty good at hitting the heads with the right-click. And another one, Zen launched through. And Mini-Me, Harry, has actually used a supercharger really early.
Well, this is going to have trouble connecting with a couple of people. It is behind that box, so if they move on forward to try and actually contest a point, they're not going to be getting the connection with the beam. I wouldn't call that the ideal position, if you ask me.
Well, Monkmada is still getting this damage boost, blinking away, and does have the ultimate available to him as well. He's going to send it through, and Matrix being used so early, though, and Ding using the Transcendence. Hey, everybody just stand the dragons, no worries, you're going to get healed up anyway. Chao is naded in the back. As Zapre trying to take over the game with a high noon. He spots Ricky, but manages to scurry for cover for the time being. But that does mean Moose gets resurrected.
Good attempt at teamwork there with Fisher trying to get him a higher angle. Right now, it's going to be the usage of a whole hog cancel.
It gets cancelled instantly with the ult, but Ricky with the Blizzard in the back line. Chow gets instantly taken out as Monk Marder comes up big as well. Henningson falling, the hooks are good, and Moose now pushing everybody from HSL back as they get time on the board.
Monk Marder just clutches up so hard. You've got Askoft in the back. Maybe you can use the immortality
2 ticks
field.
coming in, they can't get, okay, they just don't get on. Askoff couldn't even come out. Maybe he didn't have immortality field available to him. Monk Marder quickly killed him off anyway. Look at that time bank coming through from CV. 26 seconds will round up to a minute. But Clockwork Vendetta, they got 3 and 10 in their time bank.
And Ricky does such a good job of using these walls to obfuscate the movements of Clockwork Vendetta. Like, it looked like they were pretty far off on the engagement. We were looking at the Hanzo, right? And we're like, okay, this is a duel that's happening. Maybe good to try and get a pick and then engage. But once the wall from Ricky comes down, it's like, hey, Mini-Me and Moose are here, by the way. And they're going for a nice old hook. There was a nifty attempt at tech where we saw Zapra use the Deadeye. And Fisher put a wall under him to try and put him up onto higher ground so he'd get a better angle onto people who are taking cover behind sort of lower cover, which could have been potentially taken out of the equation. Unfortunately, it didn't work out as well as we would have thought. It would have been a cool clip, though.
Yeah, wait till Sigma comes out, and then you can be levitated up into the air, and then you can be killed like Jaehong was. Unlucky, mate. HSL now on the offense. They got a minute to spare. Want to get as much time as possible, of course, or as many ticks and many points. But with 3 minutes and 10 seconds of the time bank, that's rather deadly. Looking them directly in the eyes. Clockwork, they're so good at setting up these defenses. Like you said, Ricky and his walls are almost unstoppable.
And a jargon we use a lot, Jaws, is for rotation of cooldowns, and it's very much evident when you watch Clockwork Vendetta play how they rotate the usage of the shield from Mini-Me with the wall from Ricky to ensure there's always a barrier between themselves and the damaging sources of the enemy. You'll likely be able to see it in the next few moments, of course, because Fisher will do a lot of damage to the shield of Mini-Me. That's an early hook, though, by Fisher.
They're actually on the low ground as well, though I don't really think HSL expected that whatsoever. You can see them holding on this small corner.
Well, holding on this corner does mean they can actually look at where Zytor is now. This means if Zapre takes the high ground, he's going to have no angle to try and get onto the supports. They know that Scarippa moving between the various sort of vanilla angles you play a couple of Anubis on makes him very vulnerable to snipers. There's the rotation that we talked about of the cooldown, shield from wall, then shield from wall.
Monk Marder trying to find some cheeky headshots. Another Sonic arrow being used. This is so good at just revealing so much. Moose takes a whole bunch of damage, though, as Chow does use that thrusters to get onto the high ground. But now only 10 seconds remain. Henningson and Fisher are going to get naded, and Moose is trying to go forward. Instant hook onto Fisher, and he's already dead. No resurrection for HSL either, and I'm not sure they can get to the point. They're going to get walled off completely as Ricky denies them all the space. And HSL gets 0 ticks on the point.
And we talk about iteration, education, Clockwork Vendetta. What they're doing here is they looked at what happened last time. They're like, okay, so we got sniped. Let's just play where the sniper can't go. What's Sapri going to do? Is he just going to go onto the ground opposite and be like, hi, guys, it's still only mono-directional. There's a wall in the way. There's a shield in the way. And then you know that Moose is just going to be coming around back, hi. You give him the hook.
Hello.
Just give him a ZP hello.
Hello. ZP sounds like Morpheus if you weren't aware. Listen to him properly, and you'll realize we're all in the Matrix. Clockwork Vendetta, 3 minutes and 10 seconds in the time bank now to claim 33% of that first point. If Armada can click a couple of heads, it could be all over. HSL gonna go with the same thing they did before. They're gonna go with Fisher on the Junkrat, as well as Zapre on the Widowmaker. It's gonna be down to Zapre clicking the heads, but it might not even be down to that, to be fair, Harry. Last time around, we saw Fisher using all the information that's provided by the Widowmaker Ultimate in order to gain sights of everybody and unleash the tire onto the world. And with just that, it could be a tool that they use over and over again because, again, damage boost gains you ult charge also quickly on the junk, and you're getting it almost every fight.
Like, you replace Henningson with a Winston here, and we are looking at Overwatch League 2018 Stage 1 again and again. The J-Craft, the Jonax, and of course, Carpe on Widowmaker was always so important. Clockwork Vendetta, though, 1 or 2 picks will do it. If they can get Askoff, this could be over already for HSL. That's going to be their primary target, of course. Maybe McMurdo will be able to hit a shot onto there, but look at that. They obscure the vision to allow the movement of Moose into this obfuscated area to the bottom left.
Zapri's already dead, and he got hooked in as well, meaning no res available from Askoff. He's going to jump onto the Mercy too, so no Baptiste available, and Ding's already dead as well. Moose, 2 hooks, 2 kills, and now HSL in disaster, in danger zone. They're pretty much done. Fisher's going to go down as well as CV move their way onto the point. They're going to gain so much ground. Henningson gets naded from the back. Zander lands the clutch one, and now Clockwork Vendetta secure 33%. And they're going to be 2-0 in the series and gain match points.
They're going to claim that match point, and Ricky is so important there. You saw how he put the wall up in front of everyone. And that's so important because it's about getting Moose into an area where he can just be like, sneaking on in. Zapre trying for an early peek, get the pick. Maybe we can get control of this, but no. Hit him with the hook, drag him on in, hit him with a shot and the melee. And you know what this is worth to Clockwork Vendetta. This is their first time in Contenders. It could be a royal road. They want to take themselves to the finals, get vengeance a bit against Gigante. And if you can get vengeance against Gigante, then Clockwork Vendetta, they'll go over to Gauntlet. Recently, a lot of information revealed about Gauntlet. If you want to be joining these teams there, you can buy tickets from September 9th. Check out the Overwatch Path to Pro Twitter for more information on that, but look at these highlights, Jaws. It's mad.
What a storyline as well from CV, and we mentioned it before, and it feels like we talk about it a lot, but Open Division Trials, Contenders, and then potentially Gauntlet, but we have to get through this series first, of course, as well. HSL still in this fight. However, they do kind of need 3 wins to actually win the series.
Reverse sweep.
It has to be, and Chow and Askov's especially looking for new light to be shone upon them after their rather disastrous performance on Eternal Academy in Season 1 of 2019.
Yeah, there's a huge redemption arc these guys need, and evidently it's not as much redemption for Fisher and Zapre. They've always been sort of like at the top of their game, whether it was on Snakes or over in America for Fisher. But these guys want to claim a win back on home turf, show that they are these top-tier European DPS that we know them to be. We have still so many highlights from Fisher and Zapre in our highlight reel because they're just so deadly on these. But it feels like right now, maybe the rest of HSL need to sort of catch up.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, like you said, Fisher and Zapre, and something we touted yesterday is maybe one of the best DPS duos we currently have, especially after the performance yesterday that Zapre put up on the Widowmaker and almost anything he does end up playing on. And then Fisher's Genji, of course, getting that sick reflect onto that Mercy. They do need to step up as a team, and it could be the time that HSL come back. We'll have to wait and find out, of course. It will be their map pick, so maybe that'll be something for them.
Yeah, we'll be going over onto Hybrid. We have a choice of Hollywood or Numbani. Both of us are very good maps for snipers. We saw a preference for Hollywood from British Hurricane, and maybe Zapre will want the same thing, but I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more of Numbani.
Well, we'll have to wait and find out. We're going to jump to a quick break, guys. Do not go anywhere. This could be the final match for Clockwork Vendetta to send them to the finals. We'll be right back.